Look, today we are completely throwing out the normal agenda. We're skipping the usual warm-ups because, well, there is breaking sports news that has absolutely stunned the footballing world, and we just need to jump straight into it. We're looking at a story that honestly feels like it belongs in some alternate universe, but I promise you, it is entirely real. The Brazilian legend, the ultimate footballing maverick himself, Ronaldinho, has actually signed a professional contract with Italian Serie C side Ravenna FC. Now, I want to be clear, this isn't some weekend exhibition match. This isn't a charity kickabout. This is a full-blown return to competitive league football, and it has sent absolute shockwaves through the entire sport.
Okay, let's dive into this. 46. Let that number just sink in for a second. Ronaldinho is 46 years old. You know, in the hyper-athletic, incredibly demanding world of modern professional football, players are usually long into their comfortable retirements, or maybe they're pacing the touchline as managers well before they even hit 40. So, to see a legendary figure lace up his boots for a competitive third-tier Italian side at this age, it completely defies all conventional sporting logic. There's just this undeniable sense of absolute disbelief. We are literally talking about a player whose prime feels like it happened generations ago, suddenly deciding to step right back into the fiercely competitive arena.
And the sheer awe surrounding this announcement was perfectly captured by the broadcasters who were breaking the news live. One former pro reacting to the story said, "This is a sensational story, isn't it? This is unbelievable, really." And honestly, that hits the nail on the head. The mood is just this wild mix of nostalgia, pure confusion, and, let's be real, undeniable excitement. We're witnessing a moment that's making even the most seasoned sports journalists and former pros just sit back and shake their heads. It's that surreal realization that a childhood hero for millions of people is actually stepping back over that white line.
Let's move to the timeline here and see how this builds, because understanding the chronology makes this return even more staggering. We all vividly remember era number one, right? Him just dominating for Barcelona in the Champions League, always with that massive smile as he completely tore defenses apart. Then, we fast forward a bit to his twilight years over in Brazil, where he last played professionally for Fluminense way back in 2015. And that brings us to the absolutely crucial point here, the massive 11-year gap of official retirement. That is an entire decade, plus some change, completely away from the professional game. To go from a hiatus that long, straight into a brand new contract with Ravenna FC today, it's just unprecedented.
Section 1. Swapping shirts, a Barcelona memory.
So, the crucial point we need to remember is just how untouchable Ronaldinho was at his absolute peak. During the coverage of this news, one of the broadcasters, who actually played against him in the Champions League for Rangers, was asked if he managed to get anywhere near him during the game. His response? Absolutely brilliant. He said, "Absolutely not. The closest I got to was swap shirt." And, you know, that really speaks volumes. You didn't really tackle Ronaldinho, you just hoped and prayed you'd survive the 90 minutes and maybe take home a souvenir. That swapped shirt became the ultimate prize from a match where the opposition simply couldn't get close enough to lay a finger on him.
But what's really amazing about that specific Rangers versus Barcelona swapped shirt is where it sits today. It's actually framed at the broadcaster's home. And here is the real testament to Ronaldinho's enduring legacy. That former player's 9-year-old son has recently started noticing it. Even though this kid is way too young to have ever watched Ronaldinho play live, he's practically begging his dad to take that framed jersey down so he can hang it up in his own room. It just beautifully bridges the generational gap. The mythology surrounding this guy is so incredibly strong that even kids today, completely removed from his actual era of playing, instantly recognize the magic attached to his name.
Section 2. Defining the Maverick, boots, touch, and flair.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how his player profile contrasts with today's game. Ronaldinho, he was never the biggest, most physically imposing guy on the pitch. He wasn't some absolute machine built in a high-tech gym. Instead, he relied almost entirely on what felt like a supernatural touch and pure, unadulterated skill. He totally embodied what commentators love to call the carnival flair of Brazilian football. He played with joy, with rhythm, like he was literally dancing on the ball. And of course, we can't talk about his flair without mentioning the aesthetic. For young players growing up back then, it was all about those special boots, those iconic Nike Tiempos, specifically the white ones with the gold trim. When he stepped out wearing those, you just knew for sure you were about to watch a one-off masterclass.
And this brilliantly illustrates the kind of audacious moments that really defined his whole career. We absolutely have to mention that unforgettable World Cup goal against England, right? Where he casually loops that incredible free kick right over David Seaman. Now, did he actually mean it? People literally still debate that today. But as the Scottish broadcaster analyzing this news noted, with a healthy dose of humorous, nostalgic delight, I might add, it was a very special moment for Scotland fans watching at home. But really, it's those massive, character-defining moments on the world stage that cemented his status as a true maverick. He's the kind of unpredictable, chaotic genius that modern football just doesn't seem to produce anymore.
Section 3. Eras Collide, Comparing the Generations.
You know, when you think of Ronaldinho at the World Cup, your mind instantly flashes back to that historic Brazil front three. Ronaldinho lining up right alongside Ronaldo and Rivaldo. It was devastating. Just a cheat code. Today's modern forward lines and the current Brazilian attacks are great, undoubtedly. But as the source material really highlights, they just aren't that front three. Sure, we saw the next generation try to carry the torch. Guys like Neymar absolutely kept that Brazilian flair and carnival spirit alive. But Ronaldinho stepping back onto a pitch today, it feels entirely different. It feels like reaching into the history books, pulling out a literal myth, and dropping him right into the modern era.
Looking at the current ages of these global legends really helps us grasp exactly how far back in generations this return reaches. We obviously still have legends playing on the world stage right now. Cristiano Ronaldo is still out there doing it at 41. Lionel Messi is still dazzling us at 38, turning 39. But Ronaldinho, he's 46. He predates their absolute dominance. For him to step out of a decade-long retirement at an age where even the most incredibly resilient modern veterans have long since hung up their boots is just a stark, fascinating contrast. It really drives home just how unprecedented and frankly wild this Series C adventure is.
Section 4. The Series C Impact. Why come back?
And so it brings us to the question everyone is asking. What is the true motivation behind coming back after an 11-year break? The broadcasters made a good point. Ronaldinho still looks to be in pretty good physical nick. But man, he has had a lot going on in his personal life off the pitch over these last few years. He certainly isn't short of things he could be doing instead of, grinding it out on away days in the third tier of Italian football. So what actually drives a player of his magnitude to return to the daily grind of training and competitive matches after more than a decade away? Is it just this pure, unfiltered love for the game? Is it a personal challenge to see if he still has it? It's a fascinating mystery.
But honestly, regardless of his internal motivation, the external impact is already a mathematical certainty. There is going to be an undeniable, massive surge in Series C viewing figures expected for Ravenna next season. Fans who normally wouldn't watch a single second of Italian third-tier football will be tuning in from all over the globe, just hoping to catch a glimpse of those white and gold boots, waiting for a flash of that old carnival magic. It just goes to show that his global star power remains completely untouched. It's going to function as an incredible economic and marketing boom for Ravenna FC, that's for sure.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought to take away from today's explainer. Will Ronaldinho's unbelievable return at 46 redefine what we expect from the twilight years of football's greatest mavericks? Because if he can step back onto the pitch after 11 full years away, what does that say about the enduring, almost magnetic allure of the beautiful game? It really makes you wonder who else might be sitting at home watching, feeling that itch to return for one last dance. Thank you so much for joining me to break down this truly unbelievable story. Keep your eyes on Serie C next season. It's going to be absolutely unmissable.